Welcome everyone, it's Glacier Guy. Rock the Glacier as always is the 28th of December, and we're going to be talking about all the models that I painted in 2022, including all the terrain, all the 3D printed stuff. And so this will probably be a long video, kind of describing, kind of going through the year in review and discussing how the hobby kind of worked around and different things. So yeah, I'm gonna transition, move over the camera, and then we'll get into it. All right, so we're going to move our way from our left to our right on this. And I'm starting over here with this cool little mini project I did. Probably kind of took away from like actually working on other actual armies getting this done. But, I needed a break from assembling tons of models and painting terrain and everything. So kind of work our way through this. So it's a Ghost of Cadia Imperial Guard squad, infantry squad. I painted the heavy weapon as an optional include. And or you got just take a 10-man with a power sword bolt gun and a plasma gun and a box caster, and it was kind of a fun idea of hey, if I want to make an entire army of Ghost Guard, how would I do it? And I think it turned out pretty well. So it is a possible option for the future to do an all Ghost army. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing an all Cadian Ghost army. An all Space Marine Ghost army would be kind of cool, or I don't know. I'll figure it out. But it was a good color scheme if I ever wanted to get into another death army in Age of Sigmar, because I already have Soul Black Vagabonds. It was kind of fun. So, figure it out. All right, moving over here. Oh, also, unfortunately, the heavy weapon is on a 60mm base, which is the older base size for heavy weapon teams. We'll see what TOs say about heavy weapon team base sizes moving forward. I don't plan on rebasing any of the ones I've already painted. The ones I haven't painted, though, I'll probably rebase those. I bought some 50mm bases to rebase them. But the ones already painted, probably not going to bother. Mostly just because it's a giant pain to pop all the bits off and everything, and it's not fun. All right, so right in the back row here, we got 9 models. Those are all 9 retired platoon commanders, because platoon commanders don't exist anymore. If you watch the stop motion battle report that I released back in, I think October, it was October timeframe, between the World Eaters and the Mordian Iron Guard, at least you saw 3 of those. I wanted an option where my platoon commander would either have a chain sword or power sword, depending on points, and they had just the las pistol, because they're not really there for offensive capability. They're just there for incidental attacks with the power sword, but more than likely they're just there to issue orders. But unfortunately, the only thing I can use them for now is Castellans or sergeants, I guess, which is fine. I mean, I do want to... This whole Mordian Iron Guard army has to get completely redone thanks to the new codex, which is unfortunate. But anyway, but those are those 6 on the right... the 6, yeah. So those 6 are from Victoria Miniatures, and I got some bits from the Scion kit, but a lot of them are from Victoria Miniatures, and but the 3 on the left are from a 3D printing creator called Zidark Penguin, and they have a lot of cat girl type models that they released, and they look really nice. They're really pretty good detail. And the scale is a little smaller. I think I bumped the scale up to 110%, but the scale that they come out with right from the creator is just a little small, because the canon for the cat girls is that they're a little smaller in universe. But I wanted them to be roughly around the same size as the other officers, so we went with that. I might end up just backfilling the remainder of the Mordian Iron Guard. I might just backfill them with cat girls, because I have the infantry squad. I don't have the heavy weapon team, but they do offer that as a file, so I might have to pick that up. But I might backfill the rest of this squad with just Mordian Iron Guard cat girls, because either that or I'll get some more from Victoria Miniatures. Unfortunately, with the changes to how HQs work and Vox casters and things like that, I gotta pick up a camo back. I gotta pick up comms backpacks. I gotta pick up standard bearers. I don't even know if Victoria Miniatures sells a medic. They might. I'll have to look. I could say that the drummer boy is a medic, because they do have some drummer models. But I did ask recently in like one of their Facebook groups. I did mention it would be really nice if they were to release a collective pack of Victoria miniatures that was just a command squad. So a standard bearer, a radio guy, an officer, and then like a medic, and then a special weapons guy, or whatever. So that's what I did request. That I don't know how long it's going to take for them to do that. I know I'm pretty sure I can go on to Victoria Miniatures' website. This isn't a plug or anything, but I'm pretty sure I can go on there and kind of build my own command squad, because they do sell individual bits. So maybe we'll do that. We'll figure that out. All right, let's get back to what we got right here in the front, though. Let me back the camera up a bit. All right, so what we have here is our Pinot Legion project. So basically, moving forward, all of my Cadian tanks and all the infantry that I'm going to be getting when the new year and the new patrol comes out, is we're going to be painting all the new Cadian infantry as Pinot Legion. And so I had these models already set up. I have the Cadia Stance box set. I have not fully assembled everything. Pretty much out of the Cadia Stance box set, the only thing I've assembled is this command squad. Yes, those guys are on the 28.5 millimeter bases on the left and in the middle. So these are all on the correct new base sizes. The ones on the left are just on the standard bases with some standard basing material and gamer grass flowers. So we have a standard bearer, a medic, a master box, a veteran with a power sword, a bolt pistol, and a company commander. I think it's going to be Cadian company commander, I think it is, with a bolt pistol and a power sword. We're going to be adding to this Nork Deadog and a Primaris Psyker. Now I don't have the official Primaris Psyker model, but I have a whole bunch of Wyvern Psykers, which are no longer in the new codex. So I'm just going to be using an old Wyvern Psyker as a Primaris Psyker because they're on the same base and it looks like a Psyker. So, but over here to the right of it, we have an older command squad. So this is a platoon command squad. This one has, I wonder, can I? No, I can't, because the weapon options for the standard bearer is so silly. It's so silly how they did the command squads, because like, oh, you can only build it what comes in the kit. And I'm like, you could have made one command squad that is either what comes in the older kit or the newer kit, but instead they made two different ones. They made a platoon command squad and a Cadian command squad. So we have a Cadian command squad and a platoon command squad. Either way. So company commander's got a power fist, I think a bolt pistol or las pistol, I can't remember. It's whatever, which one's free. We got a master box, a plasma gun, a standard bearer, and a medic. To the right of that, we have heavy weapon team with mortars. Now, these two little units right here, the heavy weapon team and the platoon command squad, those guys are on Micro Art Studio bases. I think they're Ruined Temple, I think is what they call them, or Ruined Citadel, something along those lines. But those guys are looking really nice. Yes, those are on the appropriate size bases. So this is 28. So the appropriate size is 28.5, but I put them up next to each other. They're really close. So these are the 28.5 GWs. These are the 28s from Micro Art Studios, and these are the 50s from Micro Art Studios. The mortar team barely fits on there, but I kind of wanted to mess around with it, so that's why I gave one of the mortar team guys a flag, kind of kit bashed it a little bit. I think they turned out pretty well, but I would be hesitant putting the older, like heavy bolter, las cannon, autocannon, heavy weapon teams on 30 millimeter bases. Now, if you have the old metal ones, they should fit pretty well, because the metal ones were a little smaller anyways. But if you have the ones that were designed for 60 millimeter bases, it's very hard to put them on these 50s. So just beware. Your mileage may vary. All right, let's kind of zoom in and go to there we go. Oh. Little bumpy camera action going on here. All right, so we've got here are two tank commanders, or they could just be Leman Russes. We got a plasma. What is it? Is it Nova? No, it's not Nova. Plasma Executioner. I think it's Plasma Executioner. We got the plasma cannons. We got plasma sponsons, and we have heavy bolters in the turret. If you can notice, there's a slight difference in the hue of the plasma glow, and it was me messing around with fluorescent paints. Trying to figure out how much fluorescent pink to use and how much not to use. I didn't do any OSL on these guys, except for, I guess, like, there's some little glow from the vent ports, but I didn't do a big, overwhelming OSO glow that I've done on other models this year. But, yeah, I think they looked pretty well. Oh, if you're noticing a theme, we got a little yellow and blue going on here. Yes, the Mordin Iron Guard army was the first army I did the year. It was shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine, and so I kind of wanted to do something thematic based upon that whole situation. And so this is kind of what this army bore into. It's unfortunate that in its current state, it's not playable using the new rules. So I'm going to have to either expand it dramatically. I'm going to have to order a whole bunch more models. Oh no! Print more models. Oh no! But some of the units that I've already painted are just can't use them in the current configuration that I have them in, which that is a bummer. But anyway, so we got the two plasma tank commanders. Take a sip. All right, let's move on over. Yeah, there we go. So we have our 3 infantry squads in the army. Now, with the new kind of rule set, you kind of want, at minimum, you want a Voxcaster in your squad, which are free now. I don't have any Voxcaster bits from Victoria Miniatures, but they do sell the backpacks, a set of 5. So I might order the backpacks and then just paint them and glue them on the back of just pick one of the guys and glue on the back of it. I think it would look fine. We got the las cannons. This is kind of peak balanced data slate, I guess, what it would be called. So we have a power sword on the sergeant. We have a las pistol, mostly just because the Victoria Miniatures didn't really have a good option for the Mordian Iron Guard for these models. I forget, Victorian Guard or Victoria Guard? No, they're not Victoria Guard. I forget exactly what they call them on Victoria Miniatures website, but you'll see them if you're looking. But those power swords, the las gun kind of worked a little bit better than the other. I think they might have only just had the las gun as a weapon option. And then we have a plasma gun and the las cannon. I think the las cannons are fine on an infantry squad. I don't see a reason not to take it, especially if you're not trying to be aggressive. Ideas I have for this army is either A, to add in 3 Death Korps Krieg squads for that kind of frontline driving push forward, or add some Cadian command squads for that same rush forward, to kind of theme out the army. If that's the case, I probably won't need to really do anything other than get the combat packs for these, because I do want them to have a Voxcaster, because 1, it's free, and 2, it's really useful. So when we have, pulling back here, right here in the front, we got 2 Master of Ordnances. These are kind of kit bashed of kind of whatever bits I had lying around. One's painted after my Talarn scheme, and one's painted after my old Cadian scheme, where you had kind of a khaki top, khaki pants, blue top, and then your other gear was kind of green or gray, depending on how it was. So yeah, Master of Ordnance. I think these look perfectly fine. Some people are always like, "Why is the antenna so tall?" I'm like, because he's got to reach. He's got to reach the ordnance. You got to get through that atmospheric interference with a huge antenna. To the right of it, we have a lone Chaos Space Marine, and that is with an Alpha Legion paint scheme. That is kind of the heavy metal color palette for the Alpha Legion. Obviously, it's not to a heavy metal standard, but I think it looks fine. Right behind it, we have our Alpha Legion 30K. For the one tactical squad I was able to paint this year. I just finished building the army a couple weeks ago, so we got 1 squad painted. And this is using Vince Ventura's, if you ever see him on YouTube, Vincey V. He did a how to paint Alpha Legion, where you do some metallic undercoats, and then you use Tamiya Clear, a mix between their blue and their green, get a nice undercoat, and that pretty much covers most of it. After that, you got to go with blacks and the silvers and everything to kind of pick out certain details, whatever you want to pick out. Use some pigment powders on the base. The only thing I didn't like is that the Tamiya Clear puts a really gloss hard coat on the miniatures, which makes painting over them frustrating. But once you figured out how your brush works over the Tamiya Clear hard coat, it's not terrible. It's doable. I was able to figure it out. And I will be continuing. I was trying to decide if I wanted to use the metallic paint scheme for the 30K or if I wanted to use the non-metallic paint scheme. For ease of paint, or for speed, I'm going to use the metallic, because even though picking out certain details is a little annoying, the squad itself was painted very quickly. Once I actually spent time to actually paint it, it was done pretty quickly. All right, moving back over here. we got ourselves, we got a Commissar. This is the older Commissar with the Power Fist, reading the book. Unfortunately, modern day Commissars, one, they're on a bigger base. So I have two 3D printers. I have an Anycubic Mono X 6K resin printer, and I have an Anycubic Viper FDM printer, which a lot of the terrain was printed through. Unfortunately, my FDM printer has had like a print head fault, like the circuit boards had a fault, and Anycubic hasn't sent me out the replacement parts yet. I don't even know if they're going to. I might end up, if it takes too long, I probably might end up getting a Creality printer. I've been looking at one that's pretty nice. So I probably will end up using a different printer. But I do have the file to do the base spacers to go from 25 to 28. So, and if we have to go from 25 to 40 or something, I'm just going to put it on top of a 40 millimeter base. I'm not going to, or I would doubt it'd be on a 40. But right next to it, we have a Tech Priest Engine Seer, which I believe is on the correct size base for the Tech Priest. And then we have well, now it would be considered a Castellan. Before it was just a company commander. But this is a kind of an homage to a certain president. But yeah. All right. So let me set my beverage. No, can you just do that? I didn't have to set my drink down. Oh well, I might have to. Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right. So what we have here is yes, it is an Eldar flyer, but let me tilt it upwards a little bit. Let me take this. There we go. So we have a bunch of missile pods, a bunch of auto cannons, a bunch of las cannons, and if you look at the back, it's a pretty nice color scheme. This took quite a while. I really liked it. One thing I really like is the base. So we got a lot of stuff on the base. Little dead enemy pilot on the base, or dying enemy pilot. Oh no! Why is he orange? I don't know. I don't know why he's orange. Those astute among you will know why the pilot is orange. Anyways, but yeah. So the Eldar flyer. So it's I'm proxying it as a Thunderbolt. Can I go buy a Thunderbolt? Yes, I can easily go buy a Thunderbolt. But I wanted a model that looked more like a modern fighter jets being used in the conflict, because like I said a little bit earlier, this is a Ukrainian themed army, kind of bored out of the inspiration. And I wasn't planning on making this army. I wasn't planning on painting it any specific way. I was just going to get an actual normal Thunderbolt. But once the Ghost of Kiev came out and everything, I was like, oh, let's do this. And I kind of took some artistic license with the camo. I used Fallout Hobbies, I think there's decals, stencils. No, they're little stickers that you put on to get the camo pattern. But those were not that great. I had to fix a lot of spots that when you peeled it up, it took the lower layer of paint off. So if you're really patient, you can. And if the astute among you noticed, the top is camo, but the bottom is not camo. Because that's actually typically what happens. Typically, in most modern fighter jets, you don't paint the entire thing the same color. But I feel like if you wanted the little sticker stencils to work a little bit better, little vinyl stencils that you put on and take off, I think you would want to do your first layer, put a varnish down, put your stickers, next layer, varnish, final layer. That would probably have been the safest if you let the varnish dry between each step. And then picking out all the little gems was whatever. My story lore idea for this guy is he's just a half human, half Eldar mercenary for hire, and he's flying around in his proxy Thunderbolt, and he's providing close air support. Now, if I were to bring an army like this to an actual tournament, I would bring the actual Thunderbolt. But for my own thematic purposes, I think it's fine. Now, to the right of this, I have several Baneblade variant Super Heavies. This is the only one I have painted. This is a Shadow Sword, and oh my god, I did not realize how good the Shadow Sword was. Look, is it big? Yes. Does it take up a chunk load of space? Yes. Is it not ideal for ninth edition terrain heavy boards? Probably not, especially since, from what I understand, all ground floors now you can't see through. For context, when I do my stop motion battle reports, if you can see through a window, you can see through a window. That's just how I play. And in my head, like a volcano cannon or a las cannon, if there's some glass in the way, it's still gonna fire. It's gonna blast right through that. If it knows something's on the other side of the building, it will melt its way through the building to get to the enemy. So, whatever. But I understand why, like, competitive, it might not be the perfect choice. You can't see it from here. I got a little bit of yellow paneling on the right, and there's some blue paneling on the left. But I think this the Shadow Sword is awesome because the Volcano Cannon pretty much, once a turn, pretty much deletes anything you hit it with. If you're hitting a vehicle with it. It does a fair decent amount of damage to like a squad. I don't think the Volcano Cannon by itself would wipe a squad, depending on what the squad is. Maybe if it was like a 5-man Terminator squad, it might. But it definitely pretty much destroyed almost every single vehicle it aimed and fired at. So the Volcano Cannon is very useful. I don't know how it is in the new codex. I haven't really read it too much. It's probably still good. Is it super viable? I don't know. I know some people are upset that you have to take the sponsons now, but on every one of my super heavies, I've always taken the sponsons. So, here nor there. All right, this is mildly frustrating. So we have 3 Wyverns. They used to have Squadron. One thing I gotta do this. I'm gonna flip this bad boy around. I did different speed painting techniques with different versions of the Wyverns, just kind of get them done. But there is so many things you have to paint on a Wyvern or on a Hydra. And it's like, for what the model is and what it does, the amount of painting is not equal. So there's that. But so they used to come in squadrons of 3, which I think they should still. I don't think they should be singular. I think they should come in squadron of 3 because I honestly don't think the Wyvern is... I could be wrong, but I don't think it's that good by itself. I think it works really well in a squadron of 3, but time will tell. Whoops, apologies. Hit the camera handle. All right, but yeah. So we got our 3 Wyverns, which if I take a brigade, I have to get some. I'll have to figure out what I want to do. But as this army stands right now, I could take it as a battalion. But it's not 2,000 points. Because I don't know. The Thunderbolt is kind of up in the air right now about what's going to change on it, what's not going to change on it when the actual codex releases, and they do an FAQ for the Imperial Armor Compendium. Hopefully they do an FAQ and they release something to basically update the rules for all the Imperial Guard vehicles, all the Forge World ones. But what I really need to do with this army is kind of figure out what I want to change it to, and then commit to that, and then buy the models and bits I need to, because I'm probably going to need a couple command squads. I'm probably going to need to change these from tank command, either change them from tank commanders or take a brigade, which means I'll have to add some fast attack. I might have to take out the proxy flyer for the 2,000 point list, maybe throw it in like 3,000 point list. But there's a lot of things to figure out what I want to do. And so if you have any suggestions to keep the theme of this army, to kind of keep the Mordian theme, let me know what you want. All right, moving over here. What we did is we painted one-page rules, released a bunch of new STLs over the years. I was a patron of them. I'm currently not a patron, mostly just because I was getting STLs, but I wasn't really doing it. I wasn't printing them. But I did like their Demon Prince equivalent, and so I happened to have one of those fancy older bases. I think that base came from Secret Weapon Miniatures, which no longer sells them. I don't even think they're even in business anymore. But this Demon Prince-esh model with wings, I painted him up for painting competition. I didn't win, but I was the first person to post my picture in their Discord. And after I posted my picture, because I painted this really quickly in the competition, after my picture was done, a lot of other armies had orange glowy blade weapons. That was kind of cool. It's pretty neat to see. I feel like I inspired a bunch of people. All right. Moving over here, we have our Defiled Nurgle Land Raider. Now, if any of you guys are wondering, why is it gray? So, the pre-Horus Heresy Death Guard were called the Dusk Raiders, I believe, and they had plain gray and red armor. And this was before Mortarion showed up. And I really like that color scheme. So my whole Death Guard army is going to be painted with this color scheme. And I was so tired of painting like little dudes that I wanted to paint something that was like big centerpiece model. And I wanted something that was like absolutely Nurgle. And I was like, well, what better to like have a Defiler growing out of a Land Raider? And my idea is that the Nurgle, the Death Guard haven't been... The Death Guard have not been taking care of the Machine Spirit, and the Machine Spirit goes crazy. Does this door open? No, okay. I glued the door closed. I think the guns move, though. Do the guns move? No, the guns don't move. Okay, good. I know the claws don't move. I glued the claws in place. But yeah, so we got the Dusk Raider gray color scheme for the Death Guard. I think it looks pretty nice. But so I think this is magnetized though. Let me see. Yep, that is magnetized. So basically my whole plan for this is either I run it as a Land Raider or I run it as a Defiler, because the footprints around the same for the Defiler. It's roughly 160 millimeter base, but they don't have a base for it, so it fits. Or I do have rules for the Nurgled Defile Land Raider, which is basically just the profiles of them stuck together using the armor value and everything from the Land Raider, but having like way more weapons. So it's a Land Raider with dual twin las cannons, the twin heavy bolter, the crushing claws, the battle cannon, the dual autocannon, and the dual heavy flamer. So I mean, it's pretty cool. Plus, it's got transport capacity if you take this cool like homebrew version. So I think it's pretty funny. All right, moving on over. Move my beverage. All right, so a large portion of the latter half of the year, I think this idea came to me end of July. I think it was right end of July. Is the Atlantean Spears. I had a Blood Angel army that has stop motion battle reports on the channel. I sold the Blood Angel army because it wasn't a very cohesive Blood Angel army. It was just a Space Marine army that I happened to add some Blood Angel units to, and I wanted a cohesive, singular Blood Angel themed army, but I also wanted to try to make an army that was Primaris only. So that's a contradiction of itself, because most Blood Angel armies still use a lot of firstborn models, Sanguinary Guard, Dante, things like that, and the only real Primaris model is Mephiston. So I was looking through the rule book, and I found the Atlantean Spears. Now, if you look at the Atlantean Spears in the rule book, the color scheme is slightly different, but this is a good enough approximation to the color scheme that I could really achieve, because it's a weird aqua teal that's different than, it's not Alpha Legion. It's kind of a mix between this and Alpha Legion would be kind of the teal, and it's not a color that's easily readily available to paint. So, but I really like this Temple Guard blue. Like, that's primarily the lighter color is Temple Guard blue, but I really like it for Atlantean Spears. I think it pops really well. And so we have two squads of, what do they call those guys? Infiltrators. We have two squads of infiltrators with Helix Gauntlets. I did kit bashing on the Helix Gauntlets because the Helix Gauntlet Mini only comes in one of the kits, because this is just a regular infiltrator box and it doesn't come with the Helix Gauntlet as a bit. And it only comes in the Kill Team box, I think it is. And I wasn't going to go buy those Kill Team box squads just to get the Helix Gauntlet bit. So I did a little kit bashing. So that's what the white arms are for. We got so the Atlantean Spears have a large number of librarians, a large number of psychers in the army. Kind of similar to the Blood Ravens. So I put we got a Phobos librarian in there, and behind it we have a Primaris apothecary, And then we have what are those things? Aggressors. We have a 3-man squad of aggressors, 2 3-man squads of Blade Guard veterans behind it. We have 2 10-man chunks of assault intercessors. Then we have a Primaris librarian, which is leading the army. In a 2,000 point match, he's leading the army. In a 3,000 point match, we add Mephiston. So I painted Mephiston his Codex color scheme mostly. I think purple and plasma gun's a little bit, there's artistic license there. But I wanted Mephiston to remain his Codex compliant color scheme. And more along the lines of his lore wise, he's visiting the Atlantean Spears because he hears some weird rumors and he wants to go check it out. We have a Redemptor Dreadnought with the plasma gun, the little mini onslaught gun, and the claw, and obviously the Icarus rocket pod, and the Storm Bolters. I always forget about Storm Bolters. We have a Impulsor in the back. I think the Impulsor is probably going to be ferrying around the Blade Guard veterans. That has is this glued on? I don't know if I glued this on or not. Okay, no, it's just sitting on top. But I think I painted the shield dome and the other options, but I think the shield dome. I don't think I painted the gun, the other Storm Bolter thing. Iron Hail Heavy Stubber Array. I don't think I painted that. Maybe I did. No, I didn't because I used the same shell. Anyways, and I didn't do the comms array either. All right, apologies. Moving over, we have 2 3-man squads of Plasma Interceptors. I think is the name. Yep. And then over here we have another little detachment with a Primaris Tech Marine and 3 Leviathan Dreadnoughts. 2 of them are melee. We got 1 claw, one siege drill, and then with 2 flamers on the chest and the rocket pods on the top. The one in the back is magnetized. He is more the long range version. We got the Volkite. We got the twin Iron Storm arrays, I think is what they call them, or Storm Bolter arrays. I forget exactly. But we also have the Grab Bombard and the Melta Lance. So we got all those options. Right in the front, we have, it was the promo from 2021? I think it was the 2021 promo. It was if you bought a certain amount of models, you got a bunch of sergeants. Unfortunately, it's the only sergeant I have that survived. A lot of the other sergeants got damaged and are no longer with us. But it's the one sergeant that survived. And I'm painting as Blood Ravens. I had a bunch of different Space Marine armies, and I consolidated them together to be just Blood Ravens. So that'll be fun, because I like the idea that the Blood Ravens just steal stuff. And I have all the HQs for like Salamanders and Ultramarines, and I'm probably going to leave them their Codex compliant color schemes. I haven't painted them all the way yet, but I do like the idea of maybe them leading the Blood Ravens, but them not changing their armor. And then right in the back, we got 5 Fenrisian Wolves and 1 Lone Grey Hunter. So this guy right in the back is the first fully painted model in my Christmas Wolves Great Company. The bases for the Fenrisian Wolves, I need to add some more snow to them. Originally, it was going to be a desert-themed army, and one of the biggest things that happened this year is I tactfully acquired a fiance, and she has recently expressed interest in joining Warhammer, and so she's going to be Sisters of Battle, but she wants to be Halloween-themed because she really likes Halloween. It's one of her favorite holidays. I think her first favorite holiday is Christmas, but I think they're competing, Christmas or Halloween. But I was like, hey, I have an army that can be sort of Christmassy. But instead of doing red, because I'm already doing Blood Ravens, I went with the green base for the Christmas Space Wolves. And the idea is that they're on a desert snow planet. So it's a desert planet that also has snow, because snow planets can be desert planets. And so we have, so I got to add a little bit of snow to the Fenrisian Wolves. But aside from that, I have the first Christmas Marine painted up, and I got a couple more on the painting table, but they're not done, so that's why they're not here. So that is, way in the back here, I have a little, they're in a separate display case for a reason. But we have Inquisitor Greyfax, and we have the Ring Bearer squad that was just released from Forge World. I guess they had released it a couple years ago, and this is a re-release. So that's I did the bases on those. I didn't paint the actual clear resin, but so yeah, that is now. Aside from that, let me back out. All of this terrain was either GW terrain or it was 3D printed terrain. So this trench network is from Printable Sceneries, and it is 3D printed, and mine's I have the sections magnetized in certain areas, so they're magnetized. To the far right, we got some crates. I forgot where I got the crates from. The shipping containers. I think I got them on Thingiverse. The other little, I don't know. I'm missing something. They're little chemical bats. I don't know where I put them. They're little. My cats kept messing around with them, so I'm not exactly sure where I stuck them. But they're little chemical canisters that have like goo and mysterious stuff inside them. Yeah, I thought they were on the table. But aside from those, we got those ammo crates, the green ones. Got a bunch of craters from different places on My Mini Factory and Cult 3D. I forget the name of some of them. We got some ruined buildings from Gumroad. I think it's Gumroad? Yeah, I think it's from Gumroad. We have trees from GW. Those took a long time to paint. A lot of airbrush work. Big tower in the background. A lot of ruined buildings. We have a lot more terrain left to paint. We got some other volcanic terrain. I think some of the terrain came from a company called Taxali. It's like TXARI. I forget how to actually say it. But we got a bunch of the ruined catwalk, the craters, some other random bits and bobs are from that army, or from that 3D studio. And unfortunately, my 3D printer, my FDM printer is, like I mentioned earlier, is not working properly. So I had to slow down on the printing. Then again, I kind of ran out of space, so terrain-wise. We got a lot of terrain that isn't painted yet. It's in the painting queue. Maybe I might do a terrain month or whatever, where I just knock out terrain. And yeah, this is this. Let me pan back. This is all of the models that I painted for 2022. Now, in my review, terrain, not counting the terrain, I don't know if 2022 was more productive than 2021. Because I know in 2021, I painted the Talarn, which is 2,000 points. I finished painting the Catachans, which was 2,000 points. But a lot of that was done in 2020. So, okay. So let's say I get like 500 of those was 2022 or 2021. So 2,500 plus the World Eaters, which was another 2,000, so 4,500. So it's possible that I actually did paint more in points this year. Just kind of looking at the table, I was of the impression that 2022 was a very unproductive year, and now that I'm looking at it, I actually don't think that's right. I think 2022 was a more productive year, and this was kind of a conversation between me and my fiance, because it was like, well, I don't know if did I really paint that much this year? And then she was like, oh, did I distract you from painting? And I'm like, I don't think you distracted me from painting. I just think that when I wasn't painting, I was just like playing video games. And the video games will like while I can talk to her for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I absolutely adore her, I can also like sit and play Total War Warhammer 3 for 6 hours and forget what I'm doing. So it's a little different because like I can talk to her and paint at the same time. So I feel like I'm getting like, I'm getting fulfillment from her, but I'm also getting fulfillment from painting. And actually looking at it now, I think I did paint more in 2022 than I did in 2021. Huh. That's pretty neat. I got my first super heavy done. That's awesome. I kind of made a super heavy. I guess you could say the Defiled Land Raider is technically a super heavy. You can argue that. Yeah, I painted my first. Is that my first? No, it's not my first flyer. It's not my first flyer. I did a lot of Valkyries last year. But yeah, anyways, so this is what I painted for 2022. Hopefully I can get even more. Let's see, on the docket for projects, we have the Cadians, we got the Penal Legion because the rest of the model range is coming out, so we're gonna want to like knock our way through the rest of the Cadian Penal Legion. We have the Christmas Marines. I have the full 3,000 point Space Wolves, mostly assembled, minus a couple Dreadnought guys not assembled yet. But we can get the Christmas Marines done, and my fiance she wants to start Sisters of Battle, which is pretty cool. I'm actually printing some bases for that, just doing a test print on some graveyard bases, seeing how those work. And so but I'm not going to be painting the Sisters of Battle. As of right now, I'm not going to be painting them. The plan is for me to assemble them, and then she's going to paint them. I have plenty of other 3D print stuff that she can practice on to get better. But she's really artsy, so I'm pretty sure she'll pick it up in short order, and she'll probably be a better painter than me, which would be hopeful. So we got the Christmas Space Wolves, we got the Cadians. I have I have an Astraeus that needs to be assembled for the Atlantean Spears. I have another kit bashed Imperial Guard Baneblade that I need to work on. I have my entire 30k Alpha Legion, but I think the Alpha Legion for 2023, I don't know if I'm going to finish it in 2023. I think it's going to be kind of a project that I do between projects. Might grab a squad, do a 10-man squad, and kind of work my way through it. I got the Chaos Space Marines. I need to make more enemy factions. So, what do we do? We're turning around, looking at my wall. I do have more World Eaters to assemble. I have Tau. I haven't done anything with the Tau. And I have Death Guard, and I have regular Chaos Space Marines. So the problem with the World Eaters is we're getting a new codex, and I have a weird feeling that they're going to gut a lot of the stuff that's in the current World Eater army. So a lot of that might end up just going into the Rogues Gallery of Chaos Space Marine Warband, because I have my Chaos Space Marine army is supposed to be a Fallen army. And so, but then they got rid of the Fallen, and so the theme behind it is I have 3 units that are old Horus Heresy, grunged up, grimed up, Dark Angel Fallen squads, and the rest of it is just kit bashed or just like cobbled together different Chaos Space Marines with all different armor colors, whether they be Traitor Loyalist, whether they were like, I have a White Scars that became a Chaos, so it was a Chaos White Scars. I have a Chaos Ultramarine model, so like I want to kind of go through the gambit of just like Renegades or Traitors, even in the modern era, going Chaos. So I might make just like the Chaos Space Marine army just even more chaosy. That'd be kind of cool. I do have the Death Guard, a lot of Death Guard stuff. But World Eaters, I have a lot of World Eater stuff, and I'm really hoping that the World Eaters, what happens to them when their codex comes out isn't too drastic, because I would like to do that. I also thought about making some one-page rules armies. The Saurian Star Host, like which are the dinosaurs in space, look really cool. So that would give me a chance to paint some lizard dudes in space. Plus I got my Blood Ravens, so we got a lot of different armies to work on. And but I would like to make some more enemy factions for my Imperial factions. But I also have tons of Imperial stuff. I really don't want to start any new armies. I want in 2023. I want to work on the armies I have, aside from the Sisters of Battle that we're gonna be adding. I want to work on the armies I have. And I want to film more stop motion battle reports. I can pit Imperials against Imperials all day long. That's not a problem. That happens all the time. I haven't done a stop motion battle report with the Atlantean Spears yet, so that's an option. And well, this has been everything that I have painted in 2022. I hope you enjoy. If you want to support me, there's a link in the description below for my novel. Go check that out. It's both an ebook and paperback form. I get a little money from both. Not a whole lot, but I get some money back. But aside from that, I hope you have a great one. And I will see you in 2023. Goodbye.